Hello out there, wonderful people. Hope you're doing fantastically well. Hope you had a great weekend in this batshit crazy whatever it is. So I'm going to talk about a very triggering topic today. Well, it depends on what angle you're coming from. For some of you, it won't be triggering at all. But for others, it will be extremely triggering, as with all this information. When you first come across it, if you've come from the New Age or some people religions, it can be really upsetting, and it's almost like you go through a mourning period, some kind of grief, and it's a real thing. I've had so many people that I've spoken to down the years where they they come out of that kind of new age bubble, this fake awakening, and they go through a stage of grief because they realise that actually it was just another layer of the matrix, and all those unicorns and rainbow bridges are maybe just being used for something more nefarious. So I get it. I always empathise with people. I know the things that I'm saying are kind of upsetting, but someone's got to say them, right? And I always say that the gold, if you can move through your emotions and not get stuck there, there is gold at the end of this. And I believe that that gold is to, essentially get out of this soul. Like I say, I don't like using the word trap, but this soul recycling system, this solar system that we up till now have obviously been caught up in. So there is real light at the end of the tunnel. That's creepy, isn't it? Light at the end of the tunnel. Makes you wonder where that saying came from as well. So, but yeah, so today I want to speak about heaven and hell. Okay. So before I do, if you are new around here, please consider subscribing, liking the video, commenting, sharing. All of that great stuff helps me out a ton. So heaven and hell, these concepts have been with us throughout our entire human history, I would say. And of course, they are intrinsically tied into religions. And I very much believe that, not even believe, I pretty much know that these are just concepts similar to karma that are really being used to hoodwink and to almost threaten people to come back down onto this crazy planet or plane, whatever it is. I don't believe NASA, by the way. Before I get all the comments, oh, you called it a planet, you're a shill, and all this stuff. No, I don't believe it's round or a globe. But anyway, I'm going off topic there. So, heaven and hell is based on your belief. So first thing I would say that if there is any kind of hell, we're probably here, right? This place, you look around, war, famines, what's happening to children and stuff like that. So if there is a concept of hell, I think that maybe this is it, right? I do think that this planet has been hijacked and overlaid. There's a virus here. It was never supposed to be like this. We weren't supposed to have all this trauma go on, and it's definitely been hijacked by these entities and overlaid by this AI system, if you like, to make this reality a place of trauma and suffering, because we know that is the energy that these entities feed on. That is their caviar. So they want to create as much of that as possible. So I don't always think that this place has been like that, and I do believe that we do have the potential to change it if we can bring this whole thing down. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but many of us are sowing those seeds. I truly believe that. But the idea of heaven and hell really ties into a person's belief system, and rigid belief systems at that. We know from looking at the false white light and the soul trap, and even in our physical lives, that entities will leverage to their benefit, whatever your rigid belief systems are. They will present you an array of gods, gurus, saviors within this matrix, and they don't really care which one that you choose as long as you choose one. So they don't care if your thing is Buddha or Jesus. They don't care if your thing is the Arcturians or Archangel Michael. As long as you really believe in that deity or savior, and you're invested, heavily invested in that, then that will be used against you by this AI system, whereby it scans your physical life, takes all the algorithms out of it, spits out what is going to lure you back, what the best chance is of that, using that thing to lure you back round again. And so what I believe is happening with this concept of heaven and hell is that if you believe in heaven and hell, for example, if you're highly religious, then those concepts will be used against you. And if you study these NDEs, these near-death experiences, and with my understanding about how entities work and what they get up to, they will actually create. Now, I know this sounds far out, but bear with me. If you pass, and you've got all this guilt and shame, and you have this really rigid belief system that if you're a bad person, that your loving God, is going to send you into a fire pit for eternity. I mean, how do people believe that? I just say that then. It's just crazy how people believe that, right? The whole idea of God fearing. I mean, imagine the creator that creates you and wants you to fear it, and none of it makes sense. This is why no religion ever made sense to me, even when I was like knee high to a grasshopper. I don't get it. None of it makes logical sense. And I always use the example of using your mother. Like, imagine your mum says to you, or says to me, right, Tony, I created you, but now I want you to worship me. And if you don't, I'm going to send you into that fire pit. And if you're a bad person, I'm going to send you to, like that. My mum created me, along with my dad, obviously. Imagine that. You just go, hang on, what are you talking about? You've gone crazy. But no, because it's this God, this bearded man that's judging everything that you do, people just go with it. But anyway, I'm going slightly off topic here, but the idea of this hell, what these entities will do. So Joe Bloggs dies. Joe Bloggs is highly religious. He's God-fearing. He very much believes in the concepts of heaven and hell, and he believes that, if you're good, that you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. It's the same thing as karma. If you believe in karma, you have to suffer and resolve your karma. They use these concepts. So Joe Bloggs has passed over, and the data has been entered into the AI system, and they find a few points in the life review where Joe Bloggs could be used to guilt and shame. They'll show him the life review and then make him feel what he did to that person. That's what they do. They don't judge you, but they make you feel what that other person felt at the time that you hurt them. And so now Joe Bloggs is he's feeling all this guilt and shame. They will create a hell realm. Maybe they will put the soul there very temporary, and of course the soul is very tortured in that moment. And what these entities will do is they will offer the solution. So they create the problem. Sometimes, if you research the NDEs, they go directly to a hell realm. They're quite rare, but it does happen. But this is where it's really clever, right? Is because these entities will the soul is in the hell realm. Obviously, the soul has this rigid belief system that he's going to be there for eternity. He or she is going to be there for eternity, and so they create this nasty place. But then what they'll do is, like I say, problem, reaction, solution. is that they will show up as the solution. Now, this is where we start getting into soul contracts and things like this. So Joe Bloggs is there in this hell realm. He's suffering. Obviously, it's not very pleasant, right? So these entities will come masqueraded, and they will present themselves as saviors, and they'll probably say something along the lines of, look, Joe, you found yourself here because you were a bad person, but we can help you. We can help you get out of here. All you need to do is sign this contract to give up some of your soul energy, or sign this contract to do a certain job in your next life, or what have you. And then, of course, that soul is at their most vulnerable at that point, and these entities have shown up as Jesus or angels or something along these lines. Of course, they're going to sign up for it. This is why we have all these soul contracts that we have to clear. So I just want to put in right now, I know this sounds really horrible and really evil, because it is evil. What they're doing is evil. And they use people's most weak and their biggest vulnerabilities against them. So hell, the idea of a hell realm is something that you, I guess, co-create with these entities if you have that very strong, rigid belief system. And then, like I say, they will come in and play saviors and get you out of there. And that's when we get tied up in knots with the soul contracts and things like that. And the same thing I would say goes for the concept of heaven. Very, very often people are, when you research these NDEs, they're talking about this. It was like heaven. It felt like heaven, and they have the pearly gates sometimes, and the angels, and Jesus shows up quite often. And obviously with the love bomb frequency, which is the false white light frequency, which is like a drug. You're drugged there with all that like fake love energy. It will feel like heaven to these people. But then, of course, there's the rug pull, whereby they'll have the life review and they'll be tricked into coming back down again. So on the surface, it all feels great. It all feels love and light. But again, they will use it to their leverage. So they'll use the concept of hell to their leverage, and they'll use the concept of heaven to their leverage. So this is why I'm saying that it's so incredibly important that people let go of their rigid matrix belief systems, whatever that may be. And it's going to take a level of honesty and a level of courage to admit, okay, I've got this rigid belief system. It could be used again, even if you don't want to give it up in this lifetime. So even if you're watching this and you're highly religious, just have it in the back of your head that when you pass over, they're going to try and use that against you, right? If you get caught up in the light tunnel and all that stuff. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that this lifetime for all of us right now is incredibly, incredibly important, because there is, or does seem to be, a window of opportunity of where we can finally get out with all this information. With the internet, it's just spreading like wildfire now. And what people need to bear in mind is, if they don't get it right this lifetime, then you go through that process of the light tunnel. You're going to get your memory wiped. So everything that you learn up until this point, and you could have gone down all these different rabbit holes and learned all this information. But if you allow yourselves at the end of this lifetime to be tied up in your emotions with Jesus or a loved one or a pet, guys, I know it sounds horrible. I know it sounds upsetting. For me, I'd love to be there at the end, and my mum, my dad, my granddad, my dogs I used to have in childhood, there'd be nothing more amazing than that. But knowing what we know, There's enough information out there now. We have to kind of let these things go. And I said on a recent video that who knows, like maybe somewhere outside of this matrix we all meet up again and we laugh at all this crazy clown world. But for now, I think people have to focus on the soul journey. That's why it's a soul, and what they're going to do. And yeah, the idea of heaven and hell is very much used in the same way as how karma is being used. So if you are someone that is very, very strongly believing in karma, then of course the AI system is going to spit that program out. It's going to get used at you with the life review. Okay, Joe Bloggs, you were great, but doing all this stuff, you've accrued quite a lot of bad karma here, and there is a solution to it. Okay, what's that? Well, the solution is if you want to resolve your karma and ascend, then you need to come back down, and you need to resolve your karma, and you need to learn your lessons, because Earth is a school. We come here to learn, even though that's impossible because our memories get wiped with the veil of forgetfulness. So yeah, it all ties in together. The entities, as usual, very incredibly clever with the way they cloak themselves. And so it really is a topic that I wanted to speak about because, of course, so many people believe in these concepts. And I know I'm going to get a lot of religious folk in the comments. Well, that's up to you. You know, if you want to continue to believe what you want to continue to believe, that's your free will to do that. But I'm going to speak what I know here. I have a vast amount of experience now with dealing with these entities. I know how they work, both in this dimension in terms of how they tie into all the New Age programs, and now at death as well. They work exactly the same. So I know what I'm talking about, and what I'm trying to do is help people get out of this place. So, and we're going to do that with knowledge. Of course, energy training is important as well. So definitely something you would want to consider. You know, we need to, when we pass, we want to be as free as possible with these cords and contracts and things like that. It's a big reason why I put my course together. But the idea is, yeah, I want everyone who's watching this for this to be their last time here. Unless, of course, you actually want to come back, then that's up to you. But most people watching this video, they don't want to come back, and you know, that's my goal, is to get as many people out of here as possible. And I think by proxy, that will also help bring down the entire matrix, because if you think about it, we are the batteries. We are the batteries that power this matrix system. Certainly when we're talking about source players or soul beings, perhaps not so much the NPCs, although I have had some thoughts recently that maybe at this time consciousness can maybe even permeate their souls. Now, don't quote me on that. It's just something that came to me the other day. But for sure, the soul players, the source players, we are the batteries in this system. Now, what happens when you take out the batteries of a system? It fails to work. And so I feel that the more of us that can get out of here, then the matrix loses its power. So interesting times to be alive. Now, of course, people that are watching this for the first time, they're going to be asking, well, where do you go again? I made a video, where do you go when you pass? I made a video specifically about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's titled, What My Plan When I Leave the Matrix, or My Plan to Leave the Matrix, something along those lines. And it is my plan, right? Disclaimer there. If I get things wrong, I don't want anyone coming back in any future lives going, hey, I followed what you did and now I'm back here, right? This is what I'm doing, right? You do what you feel is right for you. I feel like the information is as accurate as it can be, but I don't want that on my shoulders just in case, right? I'm confident, but I just don't want that on my shoulders. Um, so yeah, I hope that clears these concepts up. These realms are created by entities basically to leverage power and to leverage hooking you back round again and giving up your soul energy and with all these contracts. So let me know what you think about that, guys, in the comments below. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again very soon.